Hi guys, this is Wenzes from Below the Radar Above the System, and now I want to talk to you about the Dominant-Tertiary loop, which is one of the main reasons for personality disorders, and they happen differently in introverted types in comparison to extroverted types. Those are of course generalizations. I'm not a psychologist or anything like this. Those are all just things I've read and I've seen in myself and also in extroverts, and just some kind of tendencies that make you understand where this is coming from, and understanding why things are the way they are. We can consciously really attack them and change them. Because the problem is this: let's say you're in a dominant territory loop. For what reason? It doesn't matter. We get into the reasons in a minute, but let's say you're in this point and in this space. Then everything you experience at that moment is the truth. So for you, life is really NITI. That's just how it is. That's how you see the world, and everything else doesn't make any sense. It's not that it only doesn't make sense, but you don't see any reason in it. So those are the things you operate with. Those are the things that you try to deal with, life or reality. And if you don't know that this is a common thing that happens, if you don't know that this is something you do because your ego boundaries are being pushed and you're getting to a point where you just got to protect yourself, if you don't understand it, then you'll go much more into that rabbit hole, or your how you call it, you put your heels in it, or you like really stick to your nails into it, and you don't want to let go because this is so true to you. But it's like if you're having a drug addict and they don't want to get off that drug, it's because they think this is the best thing that ever happened to me, this is the truth, this is life, everything else doesn't make sense. And you need to get those people out of that situation for them to really realize that afterwards they'll be in a better place, and then they understand what happened there. So now that I'm in a much better place, I understand, okay, I had one of those dominant territory loop, and before I started this program, it was at its worst. I've never gotten that far into it, and I didn't think I was gonna get out of it either. I was really at a point where I lost hope for pleasure in life, for happiness, and to really have a meaningful life. So it took me a while to get out of there, and I needed to hit like real rock bottom, that I knew nothing's gonna change before I changed the direction and really got into all of my personality. And I've said this before, when you're exactly in those low moments, this is where your personality type really becomes evident. I mean, some people say that you might misinterpret your personality type in situations like this, because, for example, if you're operating through NI and TI, it might look like you're an NT, and then maybe you might think you're an INTJ. But if you really work with the functions and you understand the difference between TI and TE, you pretty much know where this is coming from. But what happens is you suppress your second function, and there are different reasons for it. For me, it was, for example, that I didn't allow myself to put control into my outer space. See, what we do is we judge through our feeling function, and we also put judgments out there. We really can not control the environment, but we can spin reality. We can have an impact on reality. Can have an impact on people around us, on the way people feel, and so on. And it's very often a thing of, I don't want to put myself so much out there that will interfere with other people's lives. But deep down, it's mostly something of, you don't want to offend others. You don't want to make them, push them away, because then they'll reject you for what reason or another. You may feel like that there's something missing with you. You might feel you don't want to be disconnected from others. Those are also things that have to do with different Enneagram types that, as I said, I'm gonna go into in the future. But there are reasons why you get into those kind of loops, and it very often has to do with your environment. And I was dealing with an ENFJ, and we both gotten into those loops. Like, he was very much into the FE-SE loop. I was in the NI-TI loop, and nobody really wanted to let go. And I didn't understand that I was really like so much sticking to it, because I didn't want to defend myself. I didn't want to tell him, you're being an asshole, you're being stupid, you come off as weak to me, because I felt if I do that, then that person will abandon me, and then I'm not gonna get what I want. Remember, everything we do has a selfish reason. Everybody thinks, or hopefully everybody tries to be a good person, but you have to understand, even if you're being good, deep down our brain is, trying to do something which is helping us out, which is keeping us from pain. So if we want to have a connection with somebody, then this is because we think that person can how's it called? Just take care of us, our needs, that they can, I don't know, I don't remember the word right now, but they can take care of all those things we need. So let's say for INFJs, it's very often that we want to have an impact on life, and we are lacking force. It's really difficult for us to get that ESTP out of us, mainly because we are, it's hard for us, it's difficult. On the other hand, we might be scared that when we really say what we want, what we think, people will go away, and we don't want that. But it's very much connected, as in there's always this thing of we need to be nice to others or good to others, and through that we get our needs met. That's what it was. We get our needs met. And for me, it was exactly that. I saw that person who was very driven, who I thought could, change the world, go into politics, just like really do something great with their life. And I didn't feel that I had the power to do this. This is, of course, something I can see now looking back at it. It was Steve Jobs who said you can never connect the dots looking forwards. You can only connect them looking backwards. And now looking backwards, that's exactly what I was doing. I thought, this is what I want. I want to have an impact. I want to do something that will make life better. And I thought by helping him overcome his issues, he can do that, because he had that much charisma and power, personal, like really SE power in him, and he wanted, drive. And so I didn't want to tell him the truth. I didn't want to tell him that I thought he was very, very weak in a lot of ways, or selfish, or whatever it was, because that's how I felt at that point. I wanted everything to be connected. So at that point, when things weren't connected, I would have to do those things. Like, that's what happened in my brain in the end. I understood that I can't really help somebody that much and give myself up to that point just so they do something that will meet, so I get my needs met. What I have to do is I have to separate myself. I have to really be my own person and really find a way to work towards something. It doesn't have to be, it's not so much about the end result, but really having a purpose all the time, that there's something you can do which makes your life better, makes the life better of people around you, and so on. So this is where we're at. You feel there's that other person, for example, who doesn't want to get into their NI, suppresses their NI. I've had this with ENTJs, and I had this with ENFJs. So it's exactly that. They were suppressing their NI because they thought, because it was kind of like weak to them. They always had to be doing something because they thought that was the only way they could get outside recognition. And they needed that outside recognition because there was some kind of lack of inner acceptance. For what reason? for what reason whatsoever. Okay, I'm not saying this is how it is with all ENTJs and ENFJs. I'm just saying this is the types I have been attracted to specifically because I'm so good at NI. So there's, psychologically and subconsciously this thought of, okay, by me being there, by me taking on this part for them and taking care of them, they can take care of that lacking SE that I have. So so you want to really, and you see that you don't get through that person, so what you do, you get more into your NINTI. You want to more and more show that, be that side of you, and don't put any control out there. Just be completely laid back and just view reality from this high space, where nothing really is about the moment right now. And it gets depressing. It gets depressing at some point because you don't see a purpose in anything. You see, there's life. At the end, you're going to be dead. There's nothing that gives you a drive in life. And it can be a very lonely place. And for people who are introverts, they're different kind of personality disorders that come from, I don't know, they're what kind of are they, codependency and avoidant personality disorder. And there's so many, but they also always have this thing of going that much inside of yourself that you kind of withdraw from reality, that you don't want to have any impact on reality. And this is the way you want to get your needs met. And if you're, what I did is I went so far that I, at some point I just knew I had to do something. I have to fight back. So I was at that point where I see that other person, for me that person looks, beautiful, because psychologically I've been getting myself to this place where I think this is, I'll put that person on a pedestal, and I didn't want to hurt that person. And so what I got to a point where, no, if I don't do this, if I don't really state my opinion right now, I'm gonna die pretty much, like psychologically. So I had to do that. I had to stop suppressing my FE, and I had to really push it out there and say everything and let all my emotions out, all my judgment out that I was suppressing so much. And with us, it's very often this way that when we do this, those are like either the door slams or whatever it is. At some point when there's like a switch, when we know this is going too far, that we really hit hard. We really hit hard, and that's why we're so scared of it, because as we can help people so much, we can also hurt them so much, because we know their deepest psychological issues or what they're most scared of, and we can attack exactly that. And what I've realized now, looking back at it, is that I was not supposed to suppress my FE to begin with. So at that point where somebody, puts a judgment on you or does something that you don't like, don't excuse their behavior. Don't excuse their behavior just because you've numbed yourself out, that you don't feel it, or you find some kind of reason for their behavior. Just look of completely FE judgment in general, how each person should be treated, and if this is something that is not correct, then you have to fight back. And everything we used to do when we had all those NITI loops, it has psychologically, we felt we're above it. We don't want to fight back because that's weakness, but you're on the exact same level as everybody else all the time. They see reality differently. They have things that that makes them more competent from their point of view, and so on. And the moment you stop suppressing your FE and you put that out there, the more you also allow your SE to come through with that, because you get more balanced. The FE is external, the SE is external. And this is also the whole thing with passion. Once you start action, you put FE judgments out there, be it through stating your point, being through just making your reality or your worldview, a reality, and sharing it with others, knowing that there are going to be people who are not going to approve of it, who are going to think you're either mean, who are going to think you're crazy, who are going to think you're, not as good, whatever it was, not perfect. But doing that, because you know that the person that needs to give you the most love and respect is yourself. Once you do that, you get out of those loops. And it's the exact same thing with extroverts. And it's difficult for judgers. May it be if it's introverts or extroverts, it's always the judgers that for them it's more difficult to really change directions. So you as if you're having some kind of similar problems with another type, which is a judger, they're not going to change their perception or their direction just because you tell them, stop doing that, this is not good for you. You need to really hit them and make them stop. They need to really understand this is the wrong way to go. And the sooner you do that, the better they can change. So instead of you suppressing that FE all the way to a point where you just really hit them and then they just kind of fall off and then they have to build themselves up again, and really they will find a balance then too. If everything goes right, you can from the beginning just try to embrace that FE in you and to be more extroverted, as in not being flashy or being out there just for the sake of it, but bringing your beliefs outside. Pushing. Somebody told me in one of those videos that I don't look like INFJ, that I look like creative NI because I push my visions. Yes, that's what I learned. That's what I never used to do, and that's what I do now in order to be fulfilled, in order to know that I have a purpose, because now I know I can affect reality. I can affect the life around me, and this is the best thing that happened this way. So from the beginning, when you really understand this and really stick to that, it gives you a much better control of your life, and you'll see that you're just as love-worthy and happy, and even better because you're really making an impact, and you're not just always looking for that one person that's gonna save you. You know who that person is. That person is you. So that's how all those Dominant-Tertiary things work. And there are different reasons why. For example, when I was a kid, I had the impression that, or my father didn't understand me so much, and I felt like I have to kind of step back so he doesn't feel offended or threatened. And it took me a while to really understand, okay, this is back then, this is over, I'm an adult now, and I do have to put that out there. That doesn't make me a monster, it makes me human, it makes me vulnerable, and that's a good thing because I feel much more. I don't numb myself out like I used to, which is typical for Enneagram type 9, not for everyone, but for me, I used to numb myself out so I didn't feel a lot of things. And now I let those feelings happen. I let myself feel pain, and then I express that pain. Expressing anger, expressing pain, expressing all those things help you to balance yourself out and get out of those Dominant-Tertiary loops. Okay, so this is it for now, and talk to you later. Bye.